everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about all the books that I read last week. So, at the start of the new year and all of that, I am so motivated. In fact, I'm shocked that in my yearly stats, I didn't have January as my most read month, but because January, I start ready to roll. I feel good, fresh slate. Let's get some books done. So I definitely did in this last week. So let's go ahead and talk about them. So I have two middle grades. We have Rarity. This is My Little Pony. Rarity in the Curious Case of Charity. So this pony, she is some sort of famous person, and she gets this apprentice named Charity. Their names rhyme, and Charity tries to be just like her, and then discovers that it's better to have your own identity. This was just fine. This was fine. It was a good moral of the story, but in these My Little Pony books, they change everything to be pony applicable. And so instead of saying someone, they say pony one or pony buddy. And it's just annoying. Honestly, this is maybe a 3-star for me. My kids enjoy it, but it was kind of a slog. I wouldn't recommend. Then I read independently the Cupcake Diaries, Katie and the Cupcake Cure, and this is number 1 in the Cupcake Diaries, and it is the graphic novel series, graphic novelization of the series, because this is a series of middle grade books. However, they have the graphic novels. My 6-year-old is very into graphic novels right now, and so I got the first 4 of these from the library thinking I would pre-read them and see if this is something she could get into, and I think we maybe have some of the actual books, and so it would be a great series. However, this is about a girl named Katie, and she's entering into middle school. It's her first year in middle school, and she gets there and finds out that her best friend is now in a different clique, and her best friend is now in the popular girls club, and Katie is not. And so Katie becomes friends with a couple other gals and discovers a shared love of cupcakes, and Katie and her mom bake a lot, and so they start having cupcake Fridays, and then all the girls take a turn at making cupcakes. They end up doing it for a school fundraiser, and it's sweet. However, I will say this book is written for middle schoolers or late elementary, and the fact that there's a lot of bullying and middle school drama that is not over the top. It's not awful, and it's not something that I don't think my daughter can ever read, but it's middle school problems, and she's 6, and so I think we're going to hold off on this for now. So there's that. Now let's get into the adult books. So this is in no particular order. We have As Close as Sisters by Colleen Faulkner. So this is about 4 women who get together. It takes place in summer, but they get together for a month at one of their family beach homes. And there's one of them, our first main character, Mackenzie. She has been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and so they know that this is her last year at the beach. And so there's kind of that tone going on. However, they all have very different lives, as they always do. One of them is Aurora. She's I think that's her name. She is the kind of wild child who, there's a lot of talk about her sexuality, which isn't awful, but there's a lot of other people labeling her, and I didn't love that. But there's her, there is Lily maybe, who is pregnant for the first time, and she is kind of the goody one, the very emotional one, all of that. And then there's Janine, whose family owns the house, and then Mackenzie, our main character, who has cancer, and she co-parents with her ex-husband, their 17-year-old twins. And so all this is really the exploration of their friendships, the women individually. I enjoyed this book a lot because I love these kind of character explorations, and it wasn't overly sad. It's not like Beaches or anything like that where it's overly sad. I thought it was really good. I will say, like I said, I don't love that the sexualization part kind of thing. And then there's also this undertone. Something awful happened in the house many years ago, and all the women are involved, but we don't really know what it is until pretty far in the book. And then just the topic was really heavy. Definitely look up trigger warnings. The topic was really heavy, and I don't feel like it was addressed as well as it could be. And my other complaint, gosh, I say I really like this book, and then I'm complaining, but we get all of their perspectives, mostly Mackenzie's, but all of their perspectives, and some of the characters were very one note and just almost hard to distinguish. Even when we had their voices, it was wait, who am I reading from? And even Janine, it's her family that owns the house, and she like didn't really have a huge character arc, and I don't know that. So I liked it. Was it perfect? No. If you like slower kind of women's fiction books, you might like this. And yeah, there's that. I really like Mackenzie and her relationship with her daughters. I could have done without the like mystery. It's not a mystery, but the like what happened years ago. Definitely could have done without that. But overall, it was a good read. Then we've got The Forever Family by Shirley Jump. So I read this as a part of my book haul revisit, so I'm not going to talk about that much, but there's that. Then I read Christmas with Tucker, which is the prequel to the A Dog Named Christmas series. And this one, so in the Dog Named Christmas series, it's about a father and a father and his wife, and their special needs. Well, not even special needs. He's a developmentally delayed adult son, and his love for animals and dogs specifically. This book is the prequel, and it tells about the dad when he was a child, growing up on a farm in Kansas with his grandparents. And so I really like this. This is such a wholesome, fun series, and this book is like 200 pages, so novella length probably. And not something that's overly Christmassy, definitely wintry because the snowstorm is happening, but there's a snowstorm happening outside my window as we speak. And so it's a really timely read. Then we have another one. I wouldn't call myself a seasonal reader where I feel like I need to read seasonally, clearly because I read a summer book. But then we have The Children's Blizzard by Melanie Benjamin. And this is it's a fiction story based on the actual events that happened in 1888 about a blizzard that happened right around the time school let out, and everybody was thoroughly unprepared for this blizzard. And so it was actually kind of a warmer day in the 30s, and so kids were not prepared. And it follows two sisters, which I had never heard anybody, like I've heard about this book and nobody ever told me that it follows two sisters, both who are teachers and both who do very different things in response to this blizzard. So one of the sisters says, everybody go home, like run home, get there as quick as you can, whatever. The other one says, hey, we're all going to hunker down here in the school, and if we move together. And so the outcome of that is just heartbreaking, but also really interesting. And the way society reacts to the two different sisters, and how one is really demonized and one is literally touted as a hero. I thought that was so interesting. And I had never heard of this blizzard before. And again, with an impending blizzard here, I was really thankful for the Weather Channel and all the things we have to prepare, because that definitely happens, especially here in the Midwest. This took place mostly like in the Nebraska area. And so I thought it was really, really good. Then we have Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. So I had high expectations for this. And this is about two people who are now adults, and they were high school best friends, not really sweethearts, best friends for sure. And now they have not seen each other in years. They're back together there was kind of a trio, and the third one is getting married. So they're back there and examining their friendship basically. And so I love First Love, Second Chance. This was not, it was first love, like they were best friends, and nothing ever happened like more than friends, although everybody else thought like they were fated to be together and all that kind of stuff. And so then as we get this book, we are told, like, we're given present day timeline and past, but the past is non-linear. It just kind of jumps around. And so things I hated about this book: our main character, Shiloh, she was awful. And I do not understand why Carrie, I think is his name, Carrie. I don't understand why Carrie liked her. Not then, not now. Some of the stuff, like there's a lot of miscommunication and just crummy behavior that like I feel like is somewhat forgivable as a teenager, but as a 30-something, she's divorced, single mom, kind of all of that going on. I'm like, girl, time to be an adult. And so I really disliked our main character. I also thought Carrie, he was a really underdeveloped character, in the fact that like the way everybody else described him did not seem to match the way that Shiloh described him, or like the way that he seemed almost contradictory at times. And so they were so much alike and yet so much different, but in a way that felt contradictory, not like complimentary. And I don't know, this one is the large print edition, so it's not actually that huge, but it was not great for me. So I really like Rainbow Rowell's adult books, and the tone of them, and the way she writes, but it was not great for me. Then we've got, whoops, almost knocked them all over. Then we've got Up from Dust by Heather Kaufman. So this is a biblical fiction about Martha. Mary and Martha, really. But this book starts when Mary is born. And so Mary is the younger sister of Martha. Martha is just a busy lady. She's a type A, get it all done. And so we get, the first half is really all fiction because it is Martha's story as she is growing up and kind of her feelings about Mary and how they're not pleasant, but we really get to see why she is the way she is. Of course, it's fiction. We don't get that in the Bible. And then the second half is when she interacts with Jesus. And that part I loved because that part we do see in the Bible. And it was interesting to see her perspective of Jesus, kind of as an outsider, and with her relationship with her brother Lazarus. And I really like the second half. So overall, I would say this is like 4 stars. I didn't dislike the first half. It makes a lot of inferences, but that's what biblical fiction does. So there's that. And then last but not least is The One That I Want by Alison Wynne Scotch. So Alison Wynne Scotch is another one that I love her writing style, and I was really excited to pick this one up. However, I didn't love it. This one is about a woman who, she's divorced, I think, or no, she is not divorced. She has she has a job as a school counselor, a high school counselor. She has this boyfriend or husband or something that, relationship is great. And she's just sunshine and rainbows. Like, she is all about that. And she says something one day, and an old friend or old classmate kind of curses her, and then she can see the future, and she can get these glimpses of the future, and it's never good. She sees her husband, boyfriend, whatever, moving out. She sees her dad falling off the wagon. She sees all these awful things, and then they start happening. And so she's wondering kind of what role she has in it and how it all works, and how to get rid of this because she doesn't like what she's seeing. And she really realizes that life, while it's not all sunshine and rainbows, it still is great, and really living for more than just the on paper good. And yeah, I think this is definitely one that if you don't like those overly sunshiny characters, you're not going to like this character. It didn't bother me a ton, but it's also one that you just kind of have to go with it. There's quite a few plot holes and things, but not her best. I would say 3.5 stars. Still an enjoyable time, but just all right. So that is everything. Kind of a 3.5 star week, but it was really productive, and I'm still feeling really motivated. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. How did the beginning of your January go? Let me know that in the comments down below.